My mother destroyed our entire house over nothing. My mother is a very angry person. She would have these episodes where she would get so angry at my dad that she would destroy everything in the house. This would happen every week. And when I say everything, I mean everything. The TV, the microwave, cups, and plates. She would take a knife and cut up the couches. She would also threaten my dad with a knife and even cut the tires of his car. It sounded like a war was going on every night. It happened all throughout my childhood. As I got older, I assumed that my dad cheated on my mother every night. He would come home very late from work. I just found out today that not only was my dad never cheating on her, but he would always call my mom and let her know that he was at work. She even said she could hear all the people at my dad's meetings, so she knew that he was 100% telling the truth. Yet she would cause all that destruction anyway. The thing that made me hysterical was that fact that I remember her bringing men a couple times into my dad's house and sleeping with them. What a sick joke. Obviously, this would inevitably lead to a divorce, and I always figured my dad initiated it, but to my surprise, it was my mom who did. Keep in mind, my dad is a very hardworking man. For the very few moments that we were all together and my parents weren't trying to kill each other, really just my mom, we actually enjoyed good family time, but of course that didn't last long. Anyway, my mom's friends started convincing her that she needs to divorce my dad. And when she brought it up to my dad, he said that it's best they fight through this together. He wanted to keep his family intact. In the end, the divorce went through. After this, my mom would always say terrible things about my dad. Honestly, all the stuff she would say about him would get on my nerves, but by far the worst was when she would say, "Why do you think your dad suddenly has less money since we aren't together anymore? It's because God blessed him so he could take care of me. Now that he doesn't have me, he has no money." What the flip? She would say this so often. She's very religious. Nothing wrong with being religious, but for her it made her so self-centered and narcissistic. She basically thinks she's closer to God than anyone else in the family. Stuff like this would come out of her mouth years after the split. Here's the kicker, though. My mom still lives in my dad's old house. She can't afford to get her own place. My dad lets her live there with me and my brother out of the kindness of his heart. So not only does she only have a roof over her head because my dad is a kind man, but she also does make enough money to buy food for the whole month. By the time the 20th of the month hits, we have nothing to eat in the house. Follow for part 2.